Today on Auto Body Tips, we're going to have a look at the headlights, tail lights, signal lights, marker lights, and fog lights on this Hyundai Elantra. Let's get started. For today's application, we'll be needing a Phillips screwdriver. Here on our headlight capsule, first of all, we're going to have a look at our marker signal light. We want to take that out of there to change the bulb if need be. And over here, you can see this is where we need the Phillips screwdriver. So let's get our Phillips screwdriver and we'll take that out. First of all, here to remove our marker signal light, we'll remove our Phillips screw, which is here. Taking our Phillips screwdriver and just turning that out counterclockwise. And then I use the pick tool here, and just so I can get a grasp of it. And then just lift that out nice and easy. And just set that off to the side. Now let's pull that light out of there. This is where our fiber stick comes in handy. Now we just want to get a hold of our light like so, and then get that fiber stick in behind there and just push that out like so. That allows us to pull that out to get to our pigtail and plug in here. Now to undo this pigtail from our bulb, we have to depress this in here, and that just releases it out of the socket. You can see how that works. Let's get this up onto our... Now we have to just take out our light, and that just turns out counterclockwise and pulls on out of there like that. And then to take our light out of there, we have to push it in, turn it back, and that releases it. This bulb here is an 1157 double filament amber bulb. It still is a good bulb, so we're going to put it back in. And you can see here on the bulb itself, you can see the little catches here. One's higher than the other. And if you just looked inside your socket, you could see how that fits down in there. And that only goes in one way. And it goes in, pushes in, and locks and turns itself in. Now I'm just going to wipe that off and put it back in because it is still good. And it's always a wise idea to keep everything nice and clean. No oils from your fingers on it if you can help it. It just makes the life of the bulb a lot longer. Now this only goes in one way. You can see here the tabs, and there's different sizes in the locks. And that allows this to only fit in one way. And so just line that up. It drops in and locks into position. Now let's get this light. Okay, you can see here our guide right here. Now that lock, that's an actual like a lock retainer. And that goes in here into the header panel. And that clips in and holds the bottom of that light in place. And you can see the one guide here on the back here light. And that sits into your fender here. And then right here is where the Phillips screw sits down here. So let's get started by plugging in our harness again. And this only goes one way. I find it easier to put it like this so I can see what's going on. And just push it in and it clips into place. And then just carefully turning your light over. Then just lining things up. Just take your time. And it just clips into place. Now let's get our Phillips screw back in. Okay, taking your Phillips screw and just carefully putting it back in there. Then turning it in clockwise. Don't over tighten it, just nice and snug. You don't have to force it. And just make sure your light's secure. Okay, here to remove our headlight out of our bulb. First of all, what we want to do there is we want to unplug our pigtail from our light. And that starts out by depressing down here on this tab. And that unlocks it and lets it go. You can see how that works. When you press on it, it lifts it, unlocking it. Now, to get our light out of there, we want to get a hold of our locking collar, and that just turns out counterclockwise. You can see how that works, and you can see the locks here that go into the capsule first. And then that allows us to release our light. And there it is. This here is an HB59007 bulb. This bulb is still good, and always remember, you touch the end of that, always wipe it clean, because the oils from those fingers will shorten the life of that bulb. Now, just to put that back in, you can see there's 3 guides here, and that'll allow you to put that in only one way into the back of your capsule. So you find that, and actually you can feel it drop into position. There it is there. Okay, and then we take our retainer ring here and just take your time and just bring it down and slide it in. You'll feel it drop into place, and then that turns in clockwise to lock the bulb back into the back of the capsule. Then taking your pigtail, only goes on one way, and clipping it into place. That secures it. Now there's our marker light and our headlight. Let's have a look at the fog light. Okay, now here to have a look at our fog lamp, our driving light. What we got to do here is there is no access from back here unless you undo the bolts. There's 2 10mm bolts up top here, and you can pull the whole assembly out. But what we want to do is we want to check the light, and they've put 2 little clips here, one here and one here. Now that's where our tools come in here, and we just want to get in behind that and just open that up each side, just nice and gentle, and that allows us to pull the light right out like this. And that way we can disconnect our ground, and then we can disconnect our bulb here. You can see how it fits in right into the socket, and it's color keyed, so it only plugs in back one way, and then the clips clip back over top of the leading edge of our light. Let's go up and look. Okay, let's have a look at our light in the back of our capsule here. You can see the spring, how it releases. You just push down on that spring, and it comes out from underneath that little hook and just flips back, and that releases our light. And there's our bulb there. This is a 1233-6H3 Phillips bulb, 55 watts of power. I'm not going to touch this end here, but remember, if you touch it, we have to wipe it off. And I'm just going to do it just out of good measure and clean it all up. Now this light only goes in one way and one way only, and it just drops right back into its slots there like that. And then just take that little spring and just line things up and just clip it right back into place like that. And that secures our light inside of our socket. Okay, let's get this capsule back into the bumper. You can see our clips here on each side that clip over top of our edge here, and down here. There's actually like little rises on the lens itself where it pops over. So we'll first start by hooking our power back up to our light, and that only plugs in one way. And just push that all into place and secure it. And then taking our ground wire and placing our ground wire on the back into place like so. And then just taking everything back in there nice and easy, lining it all up, and then just pushing our clips back over, and that secures our light. Okay, let's get to the back of the car and have a look at the tail lights. Okay, let's have a look at our lights here. On these little Hyundais, they give us an access door, which is quite ingenious. Like if you just had to change one of your bulbs, you could get access to it here by just turning it out counterclockwise and looking at your bulbs. But for this segment, I'm going to show you how to remove the capsule, just in case, like if you need to replace your tail light capsule. And I'll show you how to do that. But first of all, we're going to have to remove these 4 8mm nuts here. So let's get started and let's get those out. Now that gives us access to take our light out. So let's get the camera around the other side and we'll take that light out. Okay, now just grabbing our capsule on both sides and just gently working it out like that. Now this gives us access to everything here. And now I'm going to show you here, we want to release our pigtail from our capsule. We have to press down here on that one there. So just press down, and that just releases it. Now let's go have a look at our bulbs in our tail light. Okay, let's have a look at our sockets here. We'll start by taking out our backup light. And there it is there. This here is a 611C single filament bulb. And you can see how it's even like that. And it just slides right in there. It only goes in one way and just turns in like so. That bulb's still good, so we're going to leave it in there. And then we'll just slide that right back into the socket here. It only goes in one way. You can feel it drop in, and then just turn it in counterclockwise. And then we're going to have a look at our park lamp, signal lamp. And that's the same thing. It just turns out and pulls out. And this here is a 612A double filament clear bulb. And you can see how they're offset, and they're offset in here. So this only goes in one way, so it only works one way. Now you have to find out which side that goes into. It doesn't turn in that way, you see. It won't fit at all, so it only fits one way. And just locks into position. Just wipe that off. And this only goes in one way, so you just drop it into position, lock it in. Now for our next one. This bulb here also, this bulb is a 611C single filament bulb. And that just goes right back in, locks in position. And then we have one more 612A double filament bulb for our marker light signal light. Just wipe that off. And just locks in position. But just always remember to set your light on something soft so we don't scratch that lens up, because they are soft, and we'll just get that light back in. So let's get back to the back of the car and put the light back in. Okay, taking our pigtail and then just putting it back into position. It only fits one way, and clipping it in, making sure it's secured, and then lining up our 4 bolts into our quarter panel and pushing in and securing it into place. Now let's get the 8mm nuts back on and secure it into place. Now taking our 8mm ratchet and just securing them back into place. Do not over tighten them. You don't want to break your housing on your tail light. So just secure them. And then reclosing our door. And there it is. Well, today we had a look at the headlights. taillights, marker lights, signal lights, and the fog light. And hopefully today we gave you some insight on the lights on this Elantra. So